We have studied our stakeholders. We have our initial message. We have done some. We've gathered facts. We have talked to our beneficiaries. We've gathered already a lot of information that is basically at the basis of you determining how you can make a change. But what is still missing is this information, this knowledge. And in order to make a change, where are you going to insert this knowledge? In which processes? That's mapping the policy process. We discussed it already a little bit. Mapping the policy process. Where, in which structures is your topic being dealt with? Which departments? When we've talked about the stakeholder analysis, we can mention ministries, but we can even be more specific by dedicating a specific department of a ministry or a specific part of a government institution, a specific committee, parliament, or perhaps even one parliament member. You can be very specific in your descriptions on who are you going to target with your information and your change. Shareholders meetings, etc. Which structures? It's also important to realize what is this structure going to give you. If this is Parliament debates about laws and about policy issues and topics in society, and if they make a decision, they have a high impact, very, very high impact. Whereas if you're in a departmental meeting, you might be able to make a step that is a positive step forward, or you might even bring this department or this ministry into your alliance or into your network. But in itself, bringing them on board hasn't created change yet, right? So it's important to distinguish at which moment is there an opportunity for change. Here it's about the structures, the planning process. In which policy stages does policy make place? Brainstorming, design, this is the implementation, or this is the policy cycle, not the policy influencing cycle, but the policy cycle. Brainstorming, designing a policy, the phase before the decision taking, then the decision gets taken, the implementation, the control, monitoring, evaluation. In which of these stages are we in a particular case? But more specifically, these are all phases, more specifically, brainstorming meetings, what are they? Can you give some concrete examples of a brainstorming meeting in a country on a topic? The earlier you sort of start, the earlier you have your information ready, and you can insert that and inject that to those people that are important in this brainstorming meeting can feed into, so the structure is really the municipality, the budgetary committee, or the mayor perhaps, the mayor himself. And then in those meetings you want to insert your information. That's a very important process. And the earlier you already start, the more they have digested, the more they perhaps can act in your favor. If you wait until the last minute, it will be a surprise for them, and everybody else will have already inserted their messages before you. And you might just miss the boat. So that's a very good example. Then, timeline. When is your topic put forward for decision making? So it's in a year, or in a progress. If you have assessed, okay, these and these type of meetings are coming up that are important for us as a network, you can place them on a timeline so you can do your planning. How much information am I going to put in when? Do I organize perhaps specific working groups for a meeting? In the environment, for example, if a country wants to become member of we're talking about deforestation here, so it's the UNFCCC, the Framework Convention on Climate Change. that is acting and that is providing subsidies against deforestation, against the emissions. If you want to be part of that, okay, there's a range of meetings in that whole circus of the UNFCCC, and agencies, governments, everybody's planning and preparing for this and putting information in and research, and it leads and media, and it's a really big circus of lobbying, of trying to get the information on the table with the I'm sorry? Position papers, etc. So these are basically the three key elements for you to determine, okay, who specifically, not just the government, it doesn't exist. It's a ministry, a specific ministry, a specific department, perhaps a working group, a working committee. So try to be very specific, that will help you a lot. And then, where are they in the process? Where can we hook on to make that change? And then how do we plan it in a timeline? So those are the basic elements, and those are the ones. I see one risk happening with the groups is that some of the examples have become a bit made up. No, it's become a bit artificial. You've come up because you worked in different countries. You had to make a lot of assumptions. For your topic, if it is possible, look at your topic and perhaps look at one country in your group, but try to be very concrete about if you have any knowledge about in one country, but in reality, try to come as close as possible to a reality, to what really exists today in any of your countries, about structures where you can really work with your issues, where they are in the planning process, and what timeline. Because we need to come to mapping out the policy process for your specific topic. So the better you're able to come to real concrete, real-life examples, the better it is. But if it's really difficult, well, then you have to come up with the best you can. As long as you become really familiar with what this means for your work. Because it's where you get in touch with reality and where you see the opportunities to make a change, and that will be core part of your planning. Where are we now? We've done fact-finding, and we've done the birth of the message, the stakeholder analysis, and as a conclusion, clasp, remember, it always relates to how you behave in your policy work. Anytime you get into action with other partners, other agents, other offices, you need to come forward as a reliable, credible, legitimate, accountable, service-oriented, and powerful organization. Your policy implementing, you basically have to start as early as possible. The first group had a very short timeline. It's up or down, and in a very short period of time there's very little you can still do. If it doesn't work out this time, you will start preparing for the next year, then you have a full year, but you miss a year of funding. So start as early as possible in the process. Maintain contact with all political targets and allies, and or divide tasks, because what you see is, here for example, they have only chosen 2 actors to work on, and there's already a very detailed timeline. The more actors you choose, the more events and opportunities there will be, and your timeline will be very full, and you will need a lot of extra staff and tasks to keep up with the flow. And you will discover that there are actually many more opportunities than you would initially imagine. There's a lot happening that we simply don't know of that we can use as an opportunity to get our case forward. Provide valuable information and timely. Information is obviously key. It's sort of a conclusion of where we are today. What we have done. Now, we'll make a step forward towards alliance building. And let me check the time. Have a look at this proverb from Ethiopia. What does it mean? What do you think?